The concept of intersectionality as introduced by Kimberly Crenshaw. Intersectionality, as per Crenshaw, refers to a concept or framework that describes how a person or different group of people are discriminated against based on the varying identities or traits that they possess. Crenshaw states that all inequality is not created equal, and that such an approach depicts how people's attributes may overlap, which develops or creates layered encounters of discrimination. This is a way to see how several inequalities intensify one another, leading to a compounding effect. This concept, coined by Crenshaw, is seen as pivotal in describing the harsh effects of prejudice that certain minorities face. Crenshaw does not support the idea of a single axis framework, which states that the race and sex are mutually exclusive categories. People of color, such as those who are black, are always considered as black males, and females are only seen as white females. The traditional view of separate spheres ideology considered males responsible for operation in and for the public spheres, and women should keep only in private spheres. Even in such a view, context related to white males and females was acknowledged, whereas black males and females were ignored. She states that this unjust framework is evident in anti discrimination laws, feminist discourses, and anti racist policies. Crenshaw uses various court cases to portray this single axis framework and states that even court's doctrines marginalize black women and are unable to understand the concept of intersectionality. In the case of Moore and Hughes' helicopter, for example, the court was not ready to consider a case for sex discrimination for black women. They were only focusing on a singular trait. If we focus on the feminist discourse, Crenshaw also mentions another way in which black women face oppression. The laws against rape in past have been focused on the woman's chastity. Although this may seem like a general prejudice and discrimination towards women in general, as one considers a woman to be impure if she was raped, however, this situation was far worse for black women and men too. Black people were seen as promiscuous, which led to lynching and further exploitation. Hence, Crenshaw displays the reason why this understanding of the presence of intersectionality is very important. If we fight for equal rights for all genders, we cannot ignore the fight for equality among races as well. She mentions that it is only through intersectionality that one can comprehend the poor condition of black females as compared to white females. We must acknowledge that everyone has their unique experiences of discrimination, and for equality of all, we should engage in learning more about the wide range of differences rather than a singular reason that leads to oppression. Intersectionality is hence significant to support minorities in overcoming the treatment they face due to their varied characteristics. It challenges certain feminist theories and highlights the differences and the similarities in certain groups. Crenshaw challenged both patriarchy and white feminists who embraced the ideologies of black women, such as the use of slogan, "Ain't I a woman?" which is utilized in black history to oppose the idea of women being fragile and for the recognition of black women, but they do not fight or support black women in the fight for equality. Crenshaw refers to other political discourses where even if women are given a guarantee of having some reserved seats for higher positions in politics, it may not translate into people of color getting similar opportunities. Black females were unable to attain a senior position in political parties or help in decision making as they are ignored by a prejudiced view of being a minority. People think that if women are given equal rights, that is enough, and overlook the need for equality among different races. Therefore, Crenshaw believes in intersectionality and states that we should follow a bottom-up approach rather than a top-down approach. In the top-down approach, a standard of the privileged people is taken as the optimal quality of life that one should have, and if due to a certain trait, this standard is not conformed to by a group of people, then they are the ones who are discriminated against. The problem with such an approach is that only a singular trait or axis is taken into consideration. Hence, Crenshaw believes in the bottom-up approach, which underlines the importance of hierarchy of oppression, and the fact that there are multiple layers based on which people are discriminated against. This approach starts from the least privileged or significant minorities and classifies discrimination by going up the social order. It is important to move up the social ladder and piece together the various traits based on which one is oppressed, creating complex but holistic systems. Yes, I feel that the concept of intersectionality is significant for our theorizing about oppression. People in the world now have multiple identities or characteristic traits. Although it may seem like intersectionality only deals with race and gender, there are many other nuances to this concept as well, which we should be aware of. Our world is more accepting now, which has given the people the opportunity to be confident about disclosing their identities. Intersectionality also touches on differences like being a part of the LGBTQ community, age, immigration status, etc. So, the struggles of those who are just a part of the LGBTQ community are different from people of color who are a part of this community as well, and hence can be differed, which is why they identify themselves as queer people of color. I believe that it is extremely important to know the difference between the two terms LGBTQ and QPOC. In my view, this comprehension of the uniqueness of everyone's differences and struggles is imperative in today's world to build an amenable and peaceful society. Every human is equal and deserves their rights. If we follow a single axis framework, those people who are a part of several minority groups may feel a sense of neglect towards them and may be oppressed. Hence, in my opinion, the views of Kimberly Crenshaw are quite relevant in modern society, and I strongly concur with them.